Jeff dies friendship. Jeff dies friendship. Jeff dies friendship. Jeff dies friendship. Jeff die has friends. No, really, Jeff has friends. Jeff's friends are on this podcast. Jeff dies friendship. Jeff dies friendship. Jeff dies friendship. Jeff dies friendship.
Friendship.
Hey everybody! If you're just listening to this and you can't see me, I'm wearing a tank top, and for that, I would like to formally apologize. Hey, welcome to episode 111, that's 111 if you speak Western culture language and believe in our number system, of the Jeff Dies Friendship Podcast. This week we're doing another Podswap because I am having trouble figuring out logistics. God, I can't wait till the producer's back in the house. Anyways, this episode is, I was messaged by a couple of young guys who have a great podcast, and it's called RUSHMORE, and the premise is you pick a subject and then make your Mount Rushmore of whatever the subject is. So best 90s television shows, your top 4, Rushmore. Then you do, blah, blah, blah. I picked mascots because, as you guys know, if you've listened before, or if you haven't, maybe you'll learn this episode, how much I know and love about mascots. My love of mascots has been a thing that's been part of my life forever since I was a little kid. But I really started to lean into it and acknowledge how much I love them because of one of my best friends, Aaron Michael Marsh, who you've seen on the podcast, used to be a part of the podcast. He made me realize, yeah, we've got the internet. Let's learn about all these mascots. And then also, it's a pretty unique and cool thing to like, so you don't have to be weird about it. And so I just started leaning into it, learning about them, and now I've become so passionate about mascots that I thought I was the most qualified to do the Mount Rushmore of mascots. Without further ado, we're just going to jump you right into the episode. Follow these guys. They're fantastic. I love them. Give them a shout. Watch the episode. Enjoy it.
Welcome to the Rushmore Podcast. My name is Pepper.
My name is Thomas.
And this is a podcast where we take our Mount Rushmore of any given topic, and if you listen to it for at least 35 minutes, you'll figure out what the fuck we do with it. And we are joined today by one of the most handsome motherfuckers in the country of America, Jeff Die.
USA, baby. I'm proud to be. I'm very flattered. Thank you, guys.
Does anybody call you Jeff Live?
No.
All right,
no.
that's my one joke. I'm done.
That's
Live,
it.
baby.
And this has been fun. We'll see you next year, Joe.
What if you just walked the guest? What if I just got up? I was like, I can't do this. Yes.
We're waiting for that to happen, dude.
Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't.
Well, we had a local UFC fighter on, and we had never met him before. So when we met him, it was like the first time we'd ever seen each other.
And he's a very buttoned up, like kind of country, like Christian.
He's a no-nonsense type of guy.
Yeah.
And he punches people in the face for a living. So we started off with an R. Kelly song. Do you know how to explain that concisely?
Yeah, so there's a song that R. Kelly did in Ethiopia at an Ethiopian New Year's.
Ethiopia hired R. Kelly.
Yeah,
to
hired him
run
to do
New Year's,
a country like a New Year's for their country, and he got on stage and he started improvising a song.
Do you have your passports? Did you get your shots? Who wants to come back with Rob to America?
So that's the whole lyrics is, do you have your passport? Did you get your shots? Who wants to come back with Rob to America? He's recruiting.
I thought you were just messing around. I was like, oh, that's really funny and clever. But, that's actually what he said.
That's a real improvised song by R. Kelly in Ethiopia. And we wanted to get Jason Knight as the fighter. He's in the UFC for a while. He's a bare knuckle boxing guy now. But we played that song for him up front to get his take. And literally about halfway through it, he just looked at both of us and he's like, what the fuck are we doing here?
I love it. It's got all the talent and creativity of Scott Stapp from Creed singing the Florida Marlins song. Do you guys know that one?
No,
I'm not
that
familiar.
sounds incredible though.
The Florida Marlins were like, who's our most famous person in Florida that we can get? And Scott Stapp was huge. You know,
It's not Scott Stapp.
but I mean, he was pretty big at the time. I mean,
Okay. Yeah, you
so-
did say Florida Marlins and not Miami Marlins, so that was a while back.
it was a while back, and they literally were like, all right, man, can you write a baseball song? And what he did is he just took one of his shitty songs that he was going to make just for regular and tried to make it a baseball song. But then also all the lines leading up to the song he had already written about just like soaring high, he added like baseball lyrics, but it's almost like he's never watched baseball in his life.
Yeah.
He's naming baseball things. He's like, double play, a stolen base, a triple play. It's like, dude, you're just naming things.
Yeah.
It's so bad. Those are the real lyrics. He's like, let's play ball, it's game day. And you're like, what? Like, it's just so bad.
That's brilliant.
He made a bunch of money. I think thousands of dollars, you know?
At least, dude. Hundreds at the very least.
Are we just gonna all pretend like we're not Creed guys?
I mean,
Oh, I was a Creed guy, but it's not like I'm putting it on now. I'm trying to have women in my life.
yeah.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, I mean, if it yeah, I don't want to be seen publicly enjoying Creed, but I mean, you know, if it comes on the radio, it's like, can you take fucking I mean, it's.
Well, here's the thing. I will say, like, it was perfectly timed for when I was growing up. I had teenage angst, and this guy was, like, singing. I was also, like, you know, indoctrinated by the church, and he had, like, spiritual insinuations. So I was like, yeah, dude, not only is he a badass, but he's Christian, and he's, like, speaking to me, like, about chasing my dreams and going higher. Like, I was into it, you know?
Yeah,
but now I'm a grown man.
But I mean, for real, like, how fucking great is our God? You know, like
All
You
the time.
nailed it, man.
our
You
God
said-
fucking slaps.
All the
dude.
time, Pepper.
I'm not dabbling in this joke. I love it.
Yeah, Jeff's like, I'm not getting in on this.
Dude,
I think God could get us if he wanted, you know?
Dude, we are all so fucking blessed right now. But I've seriously considered just as a bit, like turning into a hardcore Christian for like 3 months, and like just my entire social media presence is just like, dude, how fucking great is our God? And just be like, hey, can we all just take a minute to exalt him, real quick? Can we not be assholes and just exalt our fucking God for a second?
Actually, you'll probably gain a heap of Facebook followers.
Yeah,
I
that's
think so.
actually I would really like you to do that just for the sake of our
like, dude.
podcast.
Yeah, you would crush, actually.
I support that. Let's corner that market. I support that idea.
The problem is you'd lose followers on all the liberal horse shit like Instagram and stuff. You know, they'd be like, what? you do the Rushmore podcast. And then all these old people are like, what's a podcast? You're like, it's a radio show. Just listen.
Yeah, we'll get Scott Stapp to do the theme song.
Dude, that'd be
Let's grab mics and say things.
It's
Yeah,
a
he's-
mountain in South Dakota.
Yeah, you just describe a podcast the whole time.
Well, I want to say, how many episodes have you guys done of Rushmore?
Well, we've done, I would say, 120 something. So we started in November of 2017, and it's just us. We might have had 4 guests for our first 2 years doing it, but because of all this quarantine shit, we realized everybody's bored. So we just started reaching out to people like yourself. And I mean, hell,
Do you guys feel the pressure to like, are you running out of things to Rushmore?
No.
no, but at the same time, we'll be like, let's send each other topic ideas all week, and then we'll come up with something like an hour before the show sometimes, and just be like, yeah, we can throw that together.
Yeah.
But it seems to always work out, I guess.
Well, and also everybody has their own Rushmore, right? So if you want to invite someone like 5 people in a row to say who the 5 or the 4 best NBA players are, each one of their Rushmores are going to be different.
Well, full disclosure, Jeff, we have today we're doing sports mascots with you, and we did our Rushmore of mascots probably like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
But neither of us remember what our picks were, so we're kind of coming in fresh.
So I only picked it because absolutely no one you will ever have will know more about mascots than me. And I put that chat out there. I went to like college for this shit. This is like if there was a degree for mascots, I'm your guy.
No, why is that?
Because I think they're hilarious. Like, they were the first comedians I saw. I would go to the game, and I would just laugh my ass off about the Mariner Moose and the San Diego Chicken. I just thought they were brilliant.
Well, way
And
to
they're
spoil all my picks, Jeff.
Well, but they're all funny without even talking. How great is that?
Yeah, that is a very unique talent. It's like you are hamstrung because you aren't allowed to use any talking at all. So it has to be all. I mean, it's basically like modern day mimes.
Yeah, well, it's very vaudevillian. They have to do this big gag with like real big stuff. And also, the reason I love mascots is because they make they make kids happy who don't really care about sports. They make women happy if the women don't even give a shit about the sport. They're just there because their husband or boyfriend or kids wanted to go. And so they're like, oh, that's kind of fun and it's funny. And then also, they distract when your team's dog shit. You go, all right, because players break our hearts. Players leave. Players get injured. Players take more money to go somewhere else, and we're just fucked, right? Yep. But then, like, if my mascot, he's never gonna leave you, dude. He's gonna be there always for you. He's never gonna. The team's bad, he's there. The team's good, he's there. He's never gonna tear his ACL.
That is true. They're the most loyal member of the team.
And even if they do switch out people, you'll never know because it's the mascot, the person inside the suit. You'll never fucking know.
Well, like if you get married, right, and you invite Deion Sanders to your like wedding or whatever, every dude is going to lose his shit. Every dude's going to be like, Deion Sanders is here. And no disrespect, but a lot of the women are going to go, who's Deion Sanders? And the little kids are definitely not going to know who Deion Sanders is. No. But if you have the mascot from your favorite team come to your wedding, everyone's going to lose their mind. It's like the best photo op ever. It's not some aging black guy. It's a freaking mascot. It's cool.
Yeah, it's so disrespectful to call Deion Sanders an aging black guy. But yes. Deion Sanders, the baseball.
Well, they don't know who he is. He's an aging black guy at the wedding who isn't performing or doing anything, and all the dudes are losing their shit, going, "Oh, will you sign my wedding shoe?"
Yeah, what if that's your mascot, the fucking North Dakota State aging black guys?
If I was a mascot, though, that'd be great.
Yeah, the North Dakota State black don't crack.
It's on the shirt.
Yeah.
What's that old Sean Rouse? Do you guys know Sean Rouse?
Yeah.
Rest in peace. I love him. But he used to say, they say black don't crack. Well, you just got to hit him a few times with a nightstick.
Oh, man. I forgot that he died. Thanks for bringing
that actually just brought me down a little bit because I was like, oh, yeah, I love Sean Rouse. And then you said that, and I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, rest in peace. I love that guy. He was a good man to me.
I watched I'm 27. I feel like I say this every episode. I'm 27. So reference of age here. When I was in middle school, I used to watch the Insomniac special of David Tell's.
Oh, yeah.
I used to have the DVD, and I'd watch it on a fucking loop all the time. And it was Sean Rouse, Greg Giraldo, David Tell was the host, and you had Dane Cook.
Dane Cook was like their draw.
Yes.
Like, he'll pack it out, and we'll do real comedy.
There you go.
Because that's really what happened. Like, Dane was a killer, dude. Yes. Like, just annihilated. But guys like Sean Rouse couldn't get their mind around it. Like, how is this guy killing? They just couldn't understand that Dane Cook was getting actual laughs and packing out stadiums. They couldn't get their mind around it. They're like, this guy? But people love it.
People did love it. And, Greg Giraldo is one of my favorites of all time. So recipes of that guy, too. But him and Sean Rouse were both fucking hilarious on that special.
I opened for both those guys. That's how old I am. I'm 10 years older than you. I've opened for Greg. I've opened for Sean, for sure. And then I got Sean spots at my comedy club in California that's like a clean club, and they hated him. They hated him a lot. And then Dane lives right over the hill. I hang out with him pretty often. And then David Tell, we've only been in the same room probably 10 times ever, and the only thing he's ever said to me is, good job, kid. It's hard to get a laugh at this hour without saying fuck. And then he walked away from me.
Well, it sounded like you were shitting on Dane a second ago. And then I feel like you were just giving the perspective of what they were thinking doing a tour with him.
No, Dane's great. And people love Dane. It's just like to a Sean Rouse. Like Sean Rouse has worked hard on constructing like set up Punch Tag for like 20 years, and he's got fucking a studio apartment and like a wheelchair, and he's broke as fuck. And Dane has a mansion, and he'd been doing comedy for like 3 years at that point and was just slaying stadiums.
Yeah, there can't be a more like different fucking style of stand-up than Dave Attell and Dane Cook, like opposite sides of the spectrum.
On the same show. I mean, that's insanity.
And a great DVD, one of my favorite purchases.
Great. Wait, can I talk to you guys more about Rushmore?
Of course. Yeah.
Do you guys know a lot about Mount Rushmore?
No.
They named the mountain after our podcast. I know that.
Yeah, that's the only thing we heard.
That makes sense for a 27-year-old to think that. Yeah, like it's all,
all about me.
No, but so what's funny is like just a second ago we were talking about how everyone has their own Rushmore. Like no matter what the subject is, you make up your own, which is exactly how Mount Rushmore came to be. There was these two dudes. One guy had the idea, and the other guy had like the ability and the means to make Mount Rushmore. And I'm also just doing this based off memory. So if any of this is like a little clunky in facts, you can look it up, or your listeners should know that I'm doing this based on my memory. Yeah. So two guys came up with it, one guy that could do it and one guy that had the initial idea. And they originally wanted to put on these pokey things, these big spikes that were in North Dakota. But then all the natives are like, no, man, you'll be cursed. Those are fucking good luck or whatever. So they gave them the side of this mountain, right? But what's so great is the guy who thought of the idea, his name was like Robinson something. He's like, hey, I want to put like Sacagawea up there. I want Lewis and Clark. I will also want like maybe the chief of the Sioux that's allowing us to kind of do this in the Black Forest. Like, let's do this. And the guy just straight up is Russian dude, or like Ukrainian or whatever it is, Olga something. He's like, nah, fuck that, man. We need somebody that people will recognize, like Lincoln, Washington. He literally just vetoed the whole fucking thing and put 4 white dudes on the side of the mountain.
Well, didn't the guy who was over the project die like in the middle of it too?
Yeah, the same Russian dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, but isn't that great? He just vetoed it and put up 4 white dudes.
Yeah. Fuck him.
That's America.
Yeah. I mean, and it's also so fucking American to like carve faces in the side of mountains.
Oh, it's cool. It goes all for tourism, It's all about money. That's super American too.
I mean, what else is in that's South Dakota, right?
It's in North Dakota, right?
North Dakota. Oh, I don't fucking know. Sure. Yeah.
North.
Okay.
One of the Dakotas. Okay. What's the difference, really?
I defer to you guys. Like the only other thing they have is like Sturgis.
What is that?
You don't know what Sturgis is?
Sturgill Simpson.
All right, moving on. Hey, by the way, your This Is Not Happening is, I think it's my favorite out of all of them.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I get asked about it a lot because people come to my house and they say, hey, show us that jersey. And the truth is that I had to give the jersey back, but I made him sign a thing. He's calling me on the phone, this whole thing after the show aired on Comedy Central, all this different stuff. He's like, man, I want the fucking jersey back. I was like, listen, send me a contract saying that you're not going to press charges against me and Brant Tobler, and I'll send you your jersey, and I'll give you the money that you're asking for and frame it up and everything. He's like, I'm not doing that. I'm pressing charges. You're going to go to jail. I was like, okay, then you'll never see this jersey again. I'll give it to some whore in Los Angeles. I'll set it on fire. You're never going to see this jersey if I go to jail.
Yeah.
And he was like, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. And then we got a fax of a contract saying that he won't press charges against me or Brant. And so when you come to my house, I don't have the jersey, but I've got a gold frame in my office with the actual contract that has his.
Fuck yeah. I mean, that's the best consolation prize you could get. Brant Tobler's going to be on fucking our buddy DJ's podcast.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like some of those people that do This Is Not Happening are lying?
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know about lying. Maybe the base of the story is true, but definitely playing it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like Sal Vacanos, who's like a friend of mine. Like I was just watching it going like, what? There's no way this is true.
Which one was Sal's?
I mean, he had all the shit that was like involved. It was almost like he made it up.
Almost like he made it up. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them that have been really good. Yours for sure. Who was the other one that I was telling you about? Oh, Brad Williams.
Oh, yeah,
Brad Williams talking about the golf trip.
He's had a wild life. Yeah. Did he talk about the Carlos Mencia incident?
No, which one?
Which one? Yeah.
I'm not touching that. Never mind.
Okay.
All right.
We did ask him. He was on our podcast a few weeks ago, and we did ask him about Carlos Mencia, and all he said was, forever thankful, got me to my start in the business, all that.
Carlos Mencia seems like an interesting motherfucker. We'd like to.
I'll tell you what I was referencing when we stopped recording.
Okay.
But, yeah.
That's
if people get the reference, they'll like it.
Make sure you know we stopped recording because it says it up here at the top of the screen.
Well, that's the thing. Well, you can record it all. I'm looking out for you guys. Nah, I don't give a shit about me. I say what I.
Hey, speaking of shitting on people, what's your fucking deal with Tom Segura?
Oh, no problem. Love Tom Segura.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, better segue. Wrestling.
Yeah, I love wrestling. I'm a big wrestling fan. And here's the thing. Actually, this is a kind of a thing that's happening in comedy that annoys me, is that like comics will say something and then be like, what? I'm a comedian. I was joking. It's like, no, dude, I can't threaten my wife. Like, you fucking bitch, I'm going to kill her. And then when she calls the cops, I'm like, I was kidding. I'm a comedian. And that's kind of happening nowadays I love Tom. He's brilliant. Anytime someone asks me like, what's a special I should watch on Netflix, I always say Tom Segura. He's killing it. I'm a fan of the show. But for 3.5 minutes, he called wrestling fans retarded and said that if any that watches wrestling's retarded and it's like watching Special Olympics and blah blah blah. Well, one, I coach Special Olympics. I don't care that you use the R word. It doesn't bother me. But also, that is fun to watch. Who wouldn't want to watch Special Olympics?
Yeah.
It's pretty hilarious and great.
For sure.
And then two, I love wrestling, and I wasn't triggered or mad. What I wanted to just communicate is that it's a really stupid argument to say that it's fake and we're stupid for liking it. It's like fucking Batman's fake. Friends is fake. And if you're so stupid that you think we think it's real, then you should be told that we don't. That's all I was trying to tell him is that fucking not good because it's real. It's a drama, stupid. Is it the most sophisticated drama? No. But neither is Big Bang Theory. Neither is Friends. That's pretty dumb shit drama, but it's still drama.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm a huge wrestling fan. I totally agree with you. Pepper here is not a wrestling guy. And I wouldn't even say he hates wrestling. He's never been exposed to it as a kid or anything. He didn't grow up with it. So
Yeah.
It's fine. It's like
just-
imagine your favorite show when you were a kid just never got canceled. That's what wrestling is. It's like my favorite show just keeps going and going.
So America's Most Wanted never got canceled?
Well, that's the other thing. Like none of the players or none of the wrestlers ever like retire or anything. They either die or they're still in it. You still see all the guys.
Yeah, my favorite wrestler of all time, and as a kid and ever, is Shawn Michaels. And then I'm watching SmackDown a few weeks ago, and all of a sudden Shawn Michaels is out there with Triple H just bullshitting in the ring. And I'm like, fuck, 20 years ago I would have enjoyed this show. Like,
Exactly.
I'm still loving it.
They have to be killed or drug overdose or fucking something before they ever stop being in wrestling.
Or fall from the Raptors, which brings me to
Dark Side of the Ring, baby.
Dark Side of the Ring. I watched that episode last night. I'm a little late. But I watched the Owen Hart one last night.
I was watching Dark Side of the Ring like the way people were watching The Last Dance with Michael Jordan. I was like, it's Tuesday. What's my Dark Side of the Ring? I was so excited about it. The best one's New Jack from ECW.
See, all right. So I told Brad about this. We here in Pascagoula, Mississippi, we have a shitty little fairgrounds. And I went to a wrestling match about 7 years ago at this fairgrounds, and shittily put together. He's reaching across from our water. And New Jack was the headliner. He was in the main event. And I mean, when I say shitty fairgrounds, I'm saying like it's on concrete. There's a ring, but there's no guardrail. We're just standing outside of the ring. We're 5 feet away from it. And New Jack's in there with a fucking cheese grater just splitting people's heads open.
I love it.
Zero regulation. There's no security. Like, it's just
Well, and that's another thing that's perfect with my age. Like ECW came out around the time that I was like a bloodthirsty teenager who just like wanted wrestling to be so real and graphic and shit like that. Like, so I loved all that kind of stuff. Like the more the merrier. I was like, fuck yeah.
Sabu, fucking all of them.
Damn,
Sounds
man.
like you're making names up, man.
Yeah, I'm just making all these names up.
Shocked me. Although, to ask you though, to just go backwards a little bit, did it seem like I was coming after Tom Segura for that?
No. Pepper's pretty ignorant to the whole thing, to the whole wrestling world period. I just told him that you had a response to Tom's whole anti-wrestling thing on Twitter.
Well, I thought maybe he would see it because of comedians and we could have like a discussion about it, because the truth is what we do. Here's the thing. If you look at anything the way Tom's looking at wrestling, it's such an easy thing to do. You could be like, a bike? What are you, 12 years old? Get a fucking car, man. Why do you have a bike? And you're like, well, I do it for like physical fitness, and I do have a car that I drive when I go places. But if you want to be like, if that's your thinking, you could do it with anything.
Yeah, you could do it with stand-up. It's like, you mean you get on stage and you make fucking ha-has in front of stupid people?
That was part of your tweet. Was like, this is a fake conversation. You're calling it fake, but
So I just think that that's like a really, for a guy that I respect and like, and I usually almost always agree with Tom. It was a surprising thing for me to hear, and it didn't seem like he was making any jokes. It seemed like he was making an opinion that those kind of people that watch wrestling are stupid. And then also, like Joe Rogan. Take Joe Rogan, for example. How can Joe Rogan be so open-minded to any kind of drug? He'll have people come on there and talk about like crystal skulls that have been planted in the mountains thousands of years ago from aliens. He'll have
shout out Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, he'll have Alex Jones. He'll literally talk about like lizard people and like zeta reticulans, and he's so kind and open-minded and great with them. But you can't have a fucking one intelligent conversation about wrestling. Not one.
Well, I almost kind of like those people are out there because like Joe Rogan's conversations with Tony Hinchcliffe about wrestling is one of my favorite things to listen to. Because what's that?
I don't think I've ever heard him talk.
You should do that. There's been several podcasts where Tony Hinchcliffe has been the guest on Rogan, and it's all they'll get into because it'll turn into a 3-hour discussion of Hinchcliffe being like, "This is why wrestling's great," and Joe just being like, "This is fucking stupid." Okay. Now, I will say though, hilariously, this has been a couple of years ago. I do remember Joe he was making fun of wrestling, and he started creating his own character. And he was like, "What if you just had somebody that was like dressed up as a woman and he wore paint and he would basically blow on people and it would turn them gay and he would have this." He basically created Gold Dust.
Yeah, like we already did that. Yeah, good luck coming up with anything wrestling hasn't tried.
Yeah, it was just hilarious to hear him totally ignorant to it. And he spent like 15 minutes building this character and he just created Gold Dust. He just created fucking Dusty Rhodes.
All right.
I think Gold Dust was created because of Dennis Rodman. That's my theory.
Oh, that is a good theory.
That is a very fair point.
So from a non-wrestling fan, I will tell y'all what it is. So has there ever been a show that fucking everybody, for me, it was like Game of Thrones. Everybody was fucking obsessed with this show. Everybody knew all the intricate details. And all I would hear would be like dragons, White Walkers, and shit like that. I had no fucking idea what was going on. And I understand that like it's such a well done show. It's so well acted and put together. The cinematography is fucking award winning, fantastic, all this shit. But all I ever heard, because I never watched a fucking show, was fucking White Walkers and dragons, and it's all fucking stupid. So that's like the same thing with like I understand like the world of wrestling is this intricate fucking like everybody's super talented, like it's so amazing, all the storylines, blah, blah, blah. But like all I ever hear is like, you know, fucking glass breaks and some fucking fat old dude. Well, not fat. That's disrespectful. Sorry. He just comes out and drinks beer.
Cold is what you're referencing, but yeah, I will. So I'll give you this. This is how I view it. Like whether it's Twilight or it's Moby Dick or it's The Big Lebowski or it's Friends or it's wrestling or it's even sports, like even like Michael Jordan, The Last Dance, or your favorite football team or college football. It's baseball. All a story. That's what we like. We like stories. Right. And so like some people's stories are just a little different than other people's stories. But that's why I'm so like open-minded. Like if somebody likes some shit, like I made a friend a few years ago who was like really into magic cards and shit. And I was like, you know, I would have fucking picked on this kid for sure in 7th grade, or at least made fun of him behind his back. But then I realized like, no, there's like drawings of like these fucking badass monsters and shit. Like I just try to get into anything. I'm ready to get into whatever you fucking like. Let's get into it. Let's just get carried away.
Yeah, Brad Williams did a Stone Cold impression doing a promo for our podcast. And I remember he was like, "I'm gonna do it as Stone Cold." And Pepper's exact words were, "Is that the glass breaking guy?"
Well, you knew him. That's how big wrestling is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's such a crossover phenomenon.
Have you guys ever had Aaron Marsh?
He's
a great comedian, one of my best friends in the world, really funny guy. He's got this great observation where he's like, I loved Stone Cold Steve Austin for all the reasons I hated my stepdad. Like everything I liked about it, he's like, oh, he doesn't give a shit. He's foul-mouthed. He's rude. He disrespects everyone. He drinks beer. He's really angry. It's like, dude, I hate my stepdad in the other room who does all that shit. He drinks cheap beer and talks shit and doesn't care.
That's hilarious.
I think that might be why I hate wrestling. Because I had a piece of shit stepdad
it's too
like
real.
that, and he loved wrestling.
Like that could be, yeah.
Yeah, he was a huge WCW guy, and I was like, the only person I liked in WCW was Sting.
Yeah. Well, I don't like to be negative, but I'll tell you, I'll for your guys' episode here, I will tell you what I do hate about wrestling.
Ooh.
They will literally steal anything. They will steal. So, like, you like the Sting, right? That's Crow. The Crow movie came out, wildly popular, and they're like, we'll do the Crow. Then they had a character named Glacier, who's just Sub-Zero from fucking Mortal Kombat. And then they did a Ninja Turtles gimmick where they were called Party Turtles, where they actually had dudes come out in green turtle ninja costumes. They had a Spider-Man where it was a guy who he'd throw these like streamers out of his hands, and he's a red and blue spider fighter or something like that. They've had there's been a Wonder Woman. What's that? Suicide Squad came out, and then all the girls started dressing
Quinn.
like Harley Quinn. Like 3 wrestlers at the same time were dressing up like Harley Quinn. Triple H just does a big Shao Kahn impression. He has like the big hammer. And
Yeah,
he has
the helmet.
The Shao Kahn hat. They take everything, and that drives me nuts.
It's brilliant, Jeff. I don't see the problem.
Well, we're comics. We love when things aren't
Right.
stolen. We like originality, and these fuckers just take anything.
Overrated. But yeah, I agree. I love the fucking Triple H Shao Kahn shit too. I don't know of another body type that can pull that off the way he does.
I know, but Shao Kahn's way cooler than Triple H.
That's so much cool. You're not a Triple H guy, I can see.
I like Triple H. I think almost anything that's good writing, like NXT and stuff like that, like almost anything that's been good in wrestling in the last like 10 years, Triple H was responsible for.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean,
I just don't like. I'm a big Mortal Kombat mark, man. I love Mortal Kombat, and so Shao Kahn, he's like fucking half dragon, half man, just badass, fucking killing gods. Like that's a pretty cool guy.
I rewatched the Mortal Kombat movie a few weeks ago.
The
Have you
award winning.
Oh, it was so bad. Guess who played Shao Kahn in that?
Who?
I think his name. I might be screwing up his name. It's like Billy Williams or something like. But he was he was Buffalo Bill.
Oh shit, that's
Yeah,
the second Mortal Kombat movie because the first one was Shang Tsung.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so I've watched those when I was a kid, and I was so pissed off because like Mortal Kombat is more sophisticated. That's not true. More complicated than Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or any of that shit. It is so complex, like with the worlds and the resetting the timelines and all the different stories and characters having to die and come back and blah blah blah. But like nobody's been able to tell that story well ever.
That's like the Dragon Ball Z live action movie.
Oh my god!
I mean, I think that's still on my Mount Rushmore of the worst movies ever fucking made.
Oh, that's a fun thing to do is the Mount Rushmore of bad movies.
Yeah,
I think
worst shit ever.
I think we did that, didn't
I
we?
think we did like worst adaptations or some shit.
Oh yeah,
like
worst movie adaptations.
Or have you guys done one for best worst movie?
No,
No.
but that's actually pretty good.
Maybe on your second appearance we can do that.
Yeah, Troll 2. That's going to be number 1. That's the Lincoln in that Rushmore.
Which one is that?
It's called Troll 2. It's
Oh.
this movie that some foreigners made, but they didn't want to like pay all the shit to like do it in Hollywood. So they just they came to Utah. They're like, what's the difference? It's America.
Yeah.
And so there was no actors in the movie. They just got regular people because they put an ad like in the library. They're like, hey, if you want to be in this movie, come audition. So like the lead is like some shitty dentist. Oh, he's a good dentist, but a shitty actor. And every time someone comes on the screen, I've showed it to like hundreds of people. I love to just get drunk and fucking smoke cigars and show people shitty movies. And so like every time we've watched it, you'll watch the first scene, you go, wow, that's the worst actor I've ever seen in my life. Then the next person comes on screen, and you're like, no, that's the worst actor. And it just keeps going for the whole movie.
Have you ever seen a movie called Redneck Zombies?
I think I have, yeah. But they
Highly
know
recommend.
they're doing bad, right? Don't
Yeah.
they know?
Yeah,
they're
that's
coming in
different.
off the
Yeah.
joke?
It's like a parody of itself.
Yeah, we used to do the same thing you were talking about. Was just get drunk and show people that movie, and then be like, "Oh my god!" It's like, yeah, this movie was made on $3,000 and some good fucking vibes, dude.
But isn't that fun? Like, bad movies are the best. We started doing that. I used to work at a video store, Hollywood Video. That shows how old I am. It's one of my first jobs. And what we would do is we'd literally compete with each other. Like, what is the worst, shitty, dog shit movie we can find? And not just, like, boring, but, like, bad. And usually a bad horror film around the early 2000s, like 2001, 2002, is all they would do is they'd take something you're afraid of and then make it bigger.
Yeah.
So it'd be like a giant spider, ooh, or a giant rat. Like one of them was called Rats, R-A-T-Z, and the subtext was hide the cheese.
Oh shit, that's incredible.
Yeah, you got
That's
Lake
brilliant marketing.
Placid, fucking Mega Shark, all that shit.
Yep, they had Sasquatch one, and it was called We Found the Missing Link, and He's Not Friendly. And you're like, ooh.
Have you ever seen Sasquatch porn?
I have not.
Me either.
Huh.
Unfamiliar. We like
Yeah.
wrestling. He likes Sasquatch porn.
You could, a second ago, you really seemed like you were making sense, but now it's like, oh, I like Bigfoot porn, but what's with this Triple H guy?
Just check it out. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. When'd you film that Matt Singer episode?
2 months before quarantine happened, so it was I don't know. What
That's
that
how my wife and kids know you.
was.
we had Yeah, we had Adam Ray on, and they're like, "Who's that?" It was like, "Oh, he played Slimer on the Chick Ghostbusters," and they're like, "Holy shit!" And
Yeah.
then with you, there was like, it was like Jeff Dye, and she was like, "Where do I know him from?" I was like, he has like the best. This is not happening." He'd say, and then she Googled you. She's like, "Oh, he was on fucking Masked Singer." I was like,
That's great.
Yeah.
Hey, that's the two things that my friends' kids and wives know about me is American Ninja Warrior when I ran the course,
Yeah.
and then Masked Singer. But those are two really fun shows, so I'm flattered. Doesn't
Yeah.
bother me.
huge, dude.
Yeah, we watch Masked Singer every week at the house. The family watches it. The kids love it. And then I was
I want to be a judge permanently. That's the funnest gig I've ever worked.
yeah.
Who
you were-
would go ahead? we're so gay, dude.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Who out of the permanent judges, who would you fight to the death to get your place on that show if you had your choice?
Because he's little. I'd kill him. I think I'm, and he's
But
my
he could-
friend.
He's a doctor, so he could like heal himself though if you fucked him up too bad.
I believe that's how doctors work.
I don't think you know what a doctor is.
What? Wait, you're
Heal
telling
himself?
that to Dr. Pepper over here?
He's not a wizard.
What?
Jesus. Yeah, you were the most hilarious guest judge on there all year. And
I'm wondering how I compared, to be honest, because I've not watched the other episodes. I know they had like Jamie Foxx and Gabriel Iglesias and Jay Farrow.
You mean a bunch of
who the-
fucking losers?
who the fuck are those guys?
Well, the thing is, like, those are all very famous people. But if
Yeah.
we're just doing things based on fame and not humor or talent, then why have me at all? Just get the fucking Tiger King guy. And fucking,
Yeah, no, you were great. We was
He's in prison.
my my kids fucking loved you on there. And then I was like, what does Jeff? I was trying to think of topic suggestions to send you before you came up with the mascots one. And
Yeah.
I literally Googled, what does Jeff Dye like? And then pictures of you in these wrestling crowds just started coming up on Google. If you Google that, by the way, it's just you and a bunch of WWE crowds.
I love that.
Yeah.
I didn't
I was
know
like,
that.
oh, yeah. And then obviously I read that you used to date Becky Lynch, not to bring up old stuff.
Yeah.
But
No, it doesn't- she's the best. We still are friendly. It's just her fans are trash.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, I don't know that, but I'm sure you are so friendly. She seems
They're
great.
like all like 10-year-old girls who thinks wrestling's real, and they're like, when you started dating Becky, she went bad. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
Well, see,
I
and
didn't
that's
determine any of that. She's still the same sweetheart that ever. Like this,
Yeah.
it's so weird to argue with
I'll-
10-year.
and that's the thing
I'll
about
say it right now to set the record straight. Jeff Dye did not ruin Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about my kids are the opposite because one, they love Becky, favorite, you know what I'm saying? Of course, she's a hero. And then because Seth Rollins is clearly a bad guy, they fucking hate him. So
Oh,
they're
really?
like, she needs to get back with Jeff Dye. I fucking love Jeff Dye. You need to have Jeff Dye on the show.
Well, it is so silly too. Like I have plenty of flaws, but the things that people like about me is that I'm always happy. I'm smiley. I'm goofy. I want to get drunk and go to fun shit and that's all. That's how I live.
Sure.
So the fact that they would think I would date a girl and then we'd be heels and we're so mean, it's like, what are you talking about? Look at photos of us fucking around drunk at like a hockey game. Like we're having, fun.
Yeah.
It's just a weird, I guess, but they're 10. So,
Yeah.
Right. They just know what, I mean, I don't want to side with Tom Segura, but they're kind of retarded.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I did agree with Tom is their fan base is brutal. So, like, if you read some of the things people were sending to Tom, I was just, like, shaking my head going, oh, my God. Let the guy – like, the guy – we can have a more intellectual discourse than this. Just people going like, fuck you, it's fake. I bet you wouldn't say that to Undertaker's face. You're like, oh, no. That's not really.
It becomes a point too where he knows that's happening, and then to use wrestling terms, he's working those people. Like
I know, which is really funny about him. If he was doing that, that's definitely what he's turned it into.
Right.
But if he was doing that from the beginning, if he is wrestling,
right, that's exactly what he's doing.
wrestlers do. Like he's
Which I think he now realizes that because it seems like he really steered into that. But I don't think that was his original intention, like you're saying.
I don't think so either.
But-
I
but
think that
he-
they wanted to shit on one of Christina's exes,
Yep.
and wanted to talk about how that guy must be a loser for taking her to a wrestling thing.
Yep.
And then even she was like, it was actually kind of fun. It's like, yeah, because we're laughing at the stupid shit too. The wrestling fans are in on the joke.
Yes.
Wrestling is more fun than baseball. I'll give you that.
Yes, it's way more fun than baseball.
Yeah. That's my one concession that I'll give you.
I love baseball.
I do too.
So does he.
Oh,
Why?
no. Oh, that's why you got mad when I said that Deion Sanders jab.
Yeah. You get it.
All right. You ready to get in this goddamn topic?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
This week's topic is we're doing our Mount Rushmore of sports mascots.
Professional, college, however you want to spin it. If they're a mascot for a sport, it counts.
There will be some honorable mentions, just so you know.
We do that right after our number twos.
Right. I'll say, hey, I thought about this guy because of this, but he ain't in it. How do we start?
What we do is Pepper will do his number 4.
Okay.
And we'll discuss that. I'll do mine, and then we'll go to you, and we'll go down to number 1.
Sounds good.
This is hard for me because I'm kind of going against some of my sports. What do you call it whenever you hate a sports team?
Your loyalty? Oh,
Yeah,
you're picking maybe a team that you hate.
I'm going against some loyalties, but they do have some pretty dope mascots. My number 4 on my Rushmore of sports mascots is the fucking eagle from Auburn. Auburn University has a goddamn golden eagle that flies around. And I've seen it live and in person one time, and it is one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. Like, because in your mind, you think an eagle, like, yeah, it's a fucking bird. Yeah, I mean, yeah. No. Whenever you see a goddamn golden eagle in person, you see like it's got like a 7-8 foot wingspan. It is a force of nature. It is so incredible. And to hear, like, you can feel like you can tell that I'm trying to sell this because right after it came out of my mouth, I was like, that kind of fucking sucks.
Yeah, you're getting
but
real
like
descriptive.
whenever the wings flap, like you can feel like the concussion in your chest from those wings. It's one of the most awe-inspiring things I've ever seen in my life.
Great pick. Thumbs
Horrible.
down.
You know why? Because what makes a that bird can't dance around. He can't make kids laugh. He doesn't have any jokes. He doesn't do. He's not like making fun of the cheerleaders and shit. Like he's just he's an actual bird.
Yeah, you get it.
Also, lots of stadiums have a bird mascot that flies around. Like even my Seattle Seahawks, they do this thing where they got this bird and then everyone cheers and the fucker flies around and we honor the troops. And then the bird every 6 games accidentally lands on somebody just to get the Seattle Times to write about it. It's
Do you think Sean Kemp is the greatest dunker of all time?
He's my favorite player of all time.
Okay.
I have in my closet minimum, if I had to guess, like 12 different Sean Kemp jerseys because that's the best player. He was our Bo Jackson.
Wow, that's huge.
Did I lose you guys?
It's like your audio is great, but video froze up. You there?
Oh, fuck. All right, you ready for a flawless transition? Hey, speaking of basketball, I was listening to a podcast today with Ari Shafir that I wrote the theme song for called Sixth and Jump. And Ari Shafir was telling us that you can dunk like a motherfucker.
I'm 6'4" and I got big gangly arms. I throw down.
He said you don't know any of the rules of basketball, but you can dunk like fucking crazy.
Yeah, we run the same basketball team called Sean Kemp's Kids.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know where it cut off. For the people that are listening, it cut off briefly, and now we're talking again. And I was on a long Sean Kemp rant.
It cut off right whenever you mentioned your closet.
Oh yeah, about like I have like all these Sean Kemp jerseys up there. Like if I see Sean Kemp jersey like in a Goodwill or something, I buy it. I don't care. I have all of them.
Fuck him.
Yeah, Adam Ray had heavy praise for Sean Kemp.
Yeah.
He was basically he was comparing Sean Kemp and Vince Carter and how there was no comparison to him.
Well, what I will say is, like, I would never say he's better than any other player. But when it comes to, like, being a homer, like a Seattle, like, big sports fan, he was our Bo Jackson, right?
Yeah.
So he never had any championships. He has no records. There was nothing, there's no way that Sean Kemp will be remembered in, like, NBA history. But to us, we got this small time period of just magic, like a highlight reel,
Yeah, not the Orlando Magic. Fuck those guys. We actually just had another Seattle guy. Like right before we did this podcast with you, we just recorded the podcast with Josh Wolf.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Boy.
And we didn't ask him about Sean Kemp, and now I feel like I missed out.
Yeah.
Have him back on. We'll do a Mount Rushmore of dunkers, and it'll be Sean Kemp, Sean Kemp, Sean Kemp, and Sean Kemp.
You think Sean Kemp ever had erectile dysfunction?
No, I don't think so. I also think it's bad that he gets I hated that our team name was Sean Kemp's Kids because so many people have more kids than Sean Kemp.
Yeah, that is true.
Antonio Cromartie.
Yeah. Didn't he have like 17?
I think Sean had like 4 or something like that, which isn't really that many if you think about it.
That's like a good Catholic boy.
Yeah, Mark Price had like 10 or something. Like and he's like a little white guy, so like nobody made the joke. It was almost a little racist to put it on Sean Kemp.
Yeah, I think Phillip Rivers has 11.
Yeah.
He's got a starting offense.
Terrible. That's the same lady.
That's it. Yeah.
That's religion. Hey, Thomas, you brought something up about erectile dysfunction. I'm interested in that.
Well, I mean, anybody that's dealing with it, I mean, you got to know how awkward it is to talk about it in person, right?
Yeah, or on a podcast.
Our friends at Roman, Jeff Dye.
I use Blue Chew. You know what that stuff is?
Oh, wait, hey, whoa. We're mid-Roman ad here. What's happening? I don't know what Blue Chew is, but fuck those guys. Our friends at Roman, they've spent years building a digital platform. Unlike those blue motherfuckers, they have no digital
blue,
platform.
but
Eiffel 65 shit. Just go to getroman.com/Rushmore for a free online consultation, 2-day shipping, free.
Thomas, what if I have zero problems getting my dick up, but I get like really sniffly when pollen's out?
Oh, dude, allergy relief? That's what they specialize in.
Get the fuck out.
You think it's just dick pills?
That's what I thought originally, yes.
Allergy relief, multivitamins, just be healthier every day. You're drinking, this isn't even, he's drinking fucking vodka out of a measuring cup, Jeff.
I know, that's very
Mississippi
of you as well. I noticed him doing that.
Not even, because I don't know what the fuck he's doing over here.
Also, he goes, I'm blue dabba dee right? And he did the spit like on the microphone during a pandemic. I mean, that is just that's just rude to you and your family is what that is.
We're wide open in Mississippi, Jeff. We don't have restrictions. We spit on microphones and we go to work.
So jealous of you guys.
GetRoman.com/Rushmore. My number 4 on my Rushmore of mascots.
And let's be honest, if you don't want me talking about my dick pill brands, you need to do your ad reads a little more formal. You know, you're making it sound like we're just talking about dick pills. That's on you.
You're right.
Hey, that is on us, Jeff. We were specifically told not to make them sound formal.
I've also tried Blue Chew, and it's a good product too.
I keep it like in a little Mentos canister next to my bed, right? So it looks like there's candy in there, right? Yeah. And this would be a good this is not happening story. A gal, I was in the bathroom. She opened up the drawer. She took one of them. She thinks she's taking like a Mentos, right? But it's a blood thinner, and we've been drinking the whole night. So since it's a blood thinner, I had to she was feeling all lightheaded. I had to take her to the hospital and shit. It was hilarious. But I also was like, what? You had one of those Mentos? I was trying to pull it off.
I mean, they do taste good, but they don't taste like candy. Like, you could tell it's drugs. They taste like real drugs.
Yeah, it's awful, too, when I pop one of those and the girl's like, did you just eat something? I was like, no. And they kiss me and they're like, you took something.
They do work. Roman shit works better, but they do work.
Yeah.
Roman, that's the new stuff. I mean, you guys have ads on here. This is good. I need to get Roman to sponsor my podcast.
Get Roman to sponsor? Yes, GetRoman.com/Rushmore. That is the link. Get Roman. Jeff just.
All right, number 4 on your mascot Rushmore.
My number 4?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. I've been here before. This is my podcast. Yeah, our podcast. It's your podcast too, Jeff. Today.
Thank you.
Delta State Fighting Okra.
Oh my God.
My number 4 is the Fighting Okra. Oh yeah, I went deep. It's the only way I know how to go.
So that
Roman shit.
That's a Mississippi school, right?
Yeah.
I assume because Delta State
and okra.
Unless they're talking about Delta
Airlines. People what an okra mascot looks like.
Describe to people what okra is, because I feel like people out of the South don't know.
I feel like the guy drinking the vodka out of a measuring cup knows what okra looks like. So why don't you describe it?
Okra is
okra like a Chicago-based black television host lady?
Yeah, Okra Winfrey.
You get a mascot. You get a mascot.
Yeah, she's from Mississippi.
She is from Mississippi.
Yeah, there we go. Okra is like I don't know. Okra kind of sucks.
Well, I will say this: one thing okra is not is blue, right? Can we all agree? Okra's not blue.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna show you, Jeff, what the Fighting Okra mascot looks like.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yeah. That's this is your number 4. We're gonna put that on a mountain.
Oh, I have to. One, he looks so angry to be a fucking okra, just walking around in the world.
So okra's got like a weird slimy inside.
He has boxing gloves.
Doesn't have a lot of taste to it, to be honest.
Was it originally green at some point maybe, and then it faded into that color? Is that a possibility?
Maybe the costume got bloody.
He does have
a plant. I'm
That's
looking
not
at
how. Sorry, that's
Yeah.
not how colors go.
I would assume it's
Blue's
some
a
type of
primary
a
color. I
vegetable.
apologize.
I've only seen it fried, so I don't really know the origin of it.
Yeah, Tom,
So
that's
you're
stupid as
picking
fuck.
your Rushmore based on like what's the kind of most funny to you that is a mascot.
So you're basically turning this podcast into a fucking joke, Thomas?
It's all just a joke to me. I think mascot okra fans are retarded. And
Oh my gosh! Now I'm
Come
offended.
on, dude. Come on, dude. I thought we were professional. We got ads on the show, and you're doing bush league shit like this. The fuck,
Delta State is not a bush league
Jeff?
school.
Bring us out of this fucking tailspin. What's your number
All right.
4?
My number 4 is the Phoenix Suns gorilla, who dunks like a motherfucker. This guy can dunk. He was one of the original dunking mascots. He also has a very interesting story. The way that he became to be is someone sent a singing telegram, and they picked a gorilla. So like this gorilla was going to sing to somebody, and they bought him a ticket to the Suns game. They said, go embarrass him while he's at the Suns game and sing happy birthday to him and dance around in a little costume. That was like a service. And so when he did that, he's got pretty good seats or whatever. The Suns were like, this is great. Can you come back tomorrow? And he's like, no, I work for this. Like, this isn't. And they paid him to come back the next day. They put a Suns jersey over his bad gorilla costume, but he couldn't dance. He couldn't dunk. He couldn't do anything. So the next year, they just made a Phoenix Suns gorilla and stole the gimmick.
That's fantastic. By the way, Phoenix Suns player Devin Booker is from our hometown. I went to high school with that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Have you guys had him on here?
We have not, and that is
No.
I have not even thought about reaching out to him.
I had his old phone number for a little while, and he's got a lot of people asking for money.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people down here that want somebody to bring them up.
Yeah. They're like, come on, just give me $100. You're rich. We saw
Oh,
your
they weren't asking for 100. They were asking for like fucking small business loans. It was very disrespectful.
Yeah, how annoying.
Oh, it's got to be. Anyways, Jeff, how much do you think you can send us after this episode? $200,000-$300,000?
Yeah, whatever you want, man. I got it like that. And I got no wife and kids, so I'm rich.
That is a great fucking point.
That is.
All right, what is your number 3, Pepper?
My number 3, this is kind of going against my allegiances, but it's gotten a lot better since Bryce Harper left. Jeff Dye, you don't know this, but I fucking hate Bryce Harper. My iPhone's name is actually called Fuck Bryce Harper.
Really? But why?
Because he's a cunt. That is, the most concise way I can put it. He's a piece of shit. He makes whatever team he's on worse because he's a selfish little prick. He cheats. Okay. He's like one of the people that like cheats in golf. What was that show he was on?
Tonight Show.
Tonight Show. He cheated on a fucking.
What's that little show he was fucking?
He cheated on a Tonight Show game. He's a piece of shit. And he's just a little rich boy and his fucking, blah, 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 blah. I fucking hate him. Anyways, my number 4 is the Washington Nationals have a president's race in each game.
Yes.
And the Atlanta Braves also have a thing that they kind of ripped off. It's called the Tool Race. It's the Home Depot Tool Race. But they have a race each game. And it is, vaudevillian comedy. It's fucking like one of them will trip. And there's like a whole storyline if you pay attention to it. It'll be like George Washington's won like the last fucking 15. And they'll have one where like Lincoln or whatever other dumb fuck president like will push them. And, it's fun.
Well, it's funny because the 4 racing presidents are Mount Rushmore. Did you know that? Those are the same Teddy Roosevelt, it's Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. And I think there's a 5th who's not even a fucking president. It's like Ben Franklin or something's out there, I think.
Yeah,
it's incredible. And with those races, the people that did it first were the Milwaukee Brewers with these big sausages. And the sausages are very similar to the presidents in D.C., where the one that loses all the time is just the heaviest. It has a big-ass fucking head on, like Lincoln's got like a top hat or something, so it's too heavy. And same with like the Mexican sausage has like a big sombrero, so that one's the heaviest, and those people always lose.
Yeah, he's probably lazy and he drinks Bud Light too much.
Well, and also, that the way that they do it in Milwaukee is that the interns for the baseball team are in the costumes racing, and they're really serious about it because if you win the race that day, you get to go home early and you get full day pay. You get to go home early and you don't have to do, they have like a daycare, like where like parents get to watch baseball and then the fucking kids are just sitting in this room. Yeah. And so you don't have to do that if you win the race that day.
Why do you know so much about mascots, dude? This is weird. Like you have like in-depth, like you don't love mascots. You're a fucking nerd for mascots.
Did you just learn everything about sports and then got bored and you're like, I guess I got to go a little deeper?
Yeah, I think like, well, with the internet, you can like just obsess about things. You know, you could just like sit there and just go down this rabbit hole of learning. It's kind of fun.
Man.
Well,
But I also have never seen Game of Thrones. So that's what, an extra 50, 60 hours that I had on my hands?
yeah, fuck those dragons. But my number 3 was actually the presidents.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because of Rushmore. That was the entire point. So
Yeah.
we're gonna.
Wouldn't it be funny if they made a mascot Rushmore of the of the 4 presidents, the exact same Rushmore? They just look a little crappier.
Yeah.
That would be pretty hilarious. That's it for my
Yeah.
number 3.
No,
What's
I
your
get-
number 3, Jeff?
All right. My number 3 was difficult for me because I wanted I would personally put him 1 or 2, which sucked. It's just that I found people that were a little bit better than him, so he had to go number 3. He's easily my favorite mascot because he's the most funny. His name's Benny the Bull, and he is for the Chicago Bulls, and he's been arrested numerous times. He has been sued countless times. He is a psycho. There's this guy that's in the costume who will just do anything. He like once high-fived a guy too hard that it tore the muscles in his like neck, so that guy sued him. He once was he rode this like little mini bike outside of Chicago, like a little trike.
Yeah.
And this cop was like, hey, you know, this is like, you can't come in here. This is a whatever. He's like, I'm Benny the Bull. Like, I run Chicago. And he rode his stupid little bike through kind of like a crime scene or whatever. And so he got arrested in the costume, which is
There's like a rooster tail of blood coming off the tires.
so funny. And he's funny because he'll do anything. He does not give a fuck. He danced in front of Jay-Z and P. Diddy, just like doing like this hilarious dance, like right in their face when they played New York. And they were so annoyed, which made it even funnier because they're just like mad at this like bull costume.
Yeah.
He's easily the funniest. He has the most gags. In comedy, we don't take each other's material or jokes or bits, but in the mascot world, it's acceptable to use other people's gags with permission.
It's like
So not only does he use other people's gags that I love, he makes them better. The Philly Fanatic invented a gag where he pretends like he's trying to get to his seat and he keeps spilling popcorn on the people while he's trying to get through. Well, Benny the Bull took that gag and made it a life-size bag of popcorn, and he just goes like this while he walks down the stairs. So he made it like so much larger than life. He's my favorite mascot, and he's the funniest mascot, Benny the Bull, for number 3.
It's a great fucking.
That is and I mean that's one of the ones like I've seen videos of him doing like front flip fucking dunks and shit off of trampolines. Like,
And he can dance so good.
yeah.
I'll tell you one of my favorite gags he does, which is it's just so creative. And if I'm ever a mascot, I'm gonna steal it. What he does is he gets the whole crowd to think that he's gonna dunk off of a trampoline from the 3-point line. And everybody's like, there's just no way. That's too far. Even with a trampoline, there's no way he'll be able to dunk from the 3-point line. And so they put a big crash pad underneath the rim, and he does the whole dance, and he's going like this. And he's got the cheerleaders on the thing. They bring out a ring of fire. Looks like he's going to jump through the ring of fire off the trampoline from the 3-point. And all the cheerleaders are like, they blindfold him, right? And now fans that wouldn't give a shit are like, really? Is this guy going to do this? And he runs all the way down the court with a big drum roll and the lights out, everything. He runs down the court with the blindfold and the basketball. He runs right by the trampoline and the fire and smashes into a vendor, and popcorn and soda goes everywhere because he's blindfolded. It's so much funnier than dunking. It's the best.
Yeah.
The setup is fucking probably makes it 20 million times better.
It's so money.
Man, that's a good one. And so my number 2, I'm on 2.
Yeah.
My number 2 on my Rushmore of mascots, you brought him up a second ago, is the Philly Fanatic. Honorable mention, though, the Green Man. Charlie Day. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Whenever he tried to – yeah, that's my honorable mention for that. But the fucking Philly Fanatic. Some of my favorite videos of him is like him fucking with players and stuff, because he'll get on the field when they're warming up and shit. He's got some hilarious back and forth with fucking MLB players.
Well, I will say, and this rarely happens, Jeff, by the way, because me and Pepper have very little overlap, like ever. And now we've had the Presidents and the Philly Fanatic, but the Philly Fanatic was actually my number 1. So I will move my number 2 to my number 1 for the sake of continuity. But Philly Fanatic.
Because of Pepper, it's okay to agree with Pepper.
You don't know him. I would say the Philly Fanatic also. I mean, really, mostly based on the Always Sunny fucking arc too.
Yeah.
That was a pretty. I don't know if you did. Are you an Always Sunny guy?
I love that show, but I've only seen everything I've seen of it was hilarious, and I loved it. And I went to the live show here in Los Angeles, and I didn't get most of the references because I wasn't watching the show the way everyone else was. I love it, but I'm not familiar with most of it.
Well, I believe it's season 5, but they all just drink grain alcohol all day, and then they try to go to a Phillies game, and they don't have tickets, or they keep the tickets inside where it's being fumigated, so they can't get to them.
Yeah.
So they're in the parking lot trying to get hit by like really expensive cars, so that they can con somebody out of tickets, somebody rich with nice seats. And and Charlie dresses up as the Green Man.
Do you remember those morph suits that were big and like?
Yeah, I've seen Green Man.
Yeah, and then he picks a fight with Philly Fanatic like the entire episode, and it's basically him versus Fanatic the entire episode of Sunny.
I'm gonna watch that.
That I completely forgot about this, but I was friends with a bunch of Army Rangers in Columbus, Georgia, where I grew up, and we went out one night and bought morph suits. So I had a black one, somebody had a green one, somebody had like an American flag one, and then we just went out that night, like in full morph suits. I think if I remember right,
arrest those people immediately.
Yeah, no, you can't. You weren't arresting us. It was me, 5'7" dude, pretty jacked, but whatever. And then everybody else was like active duty Army Rangers, and all they did was kill people and work out. So they were fucking enormous. There was one guy we called Captain America.
Ain't nobody arresting us.
Yeah. We had a fucking great time. And you could see everybody's dicks because they were morph suits. And it was like giant dick, giant dick, giant dick. Luckily, I had the black one, so it was like a little bit more like you could kind of get away with it.
The irony.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys ready for my number 2?
Yes.
You won't believe this. It's the Philly Fanatic.
Oh,
That's my number
Holy
2.
shit. We did this with Paul Felder, too.
Yeah, we had a UFC fighter, Paul Felder, on last week, and we all had the same number 1, which is maybe the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah. Also,
Well, I think if we were doing this with like basketball players, like MJ would be number 1, and it's pretty easy to do number 2. It's like it's LeBron. LeBron's number 2. So, well, the Philly Fanatic, little tidbits for you. It was the first sports mascot. There was never a mascot in sports before the Philly Fanatic. He was the first. And they created him because the Phillies were such dog shit team that like fans were like throwing batteries and getting pissed off. And so they're like, what if we just make a character who kind of lightens the mood in the stands and nobody will get hurt? And so they created the Philly Fanatic. And guess who made the Philly Fanatic?
Who's that? Ben Franklin.
Jim Henson. The same guy who made Kermit the Frog made the Philly Fanatic. Also, the guy who was in the costume, his name was David Raymond. Now it's a guy named Tom Bergonia, but like at the time it was David Raymond. And David Raymond created the Mascot Hall of Fame, which is in Illinois. He's like obsessed with mascots too. He also made Gritty from the new mascot that everyone loves for the Philadelphia Flyers, Gritty. He created that mascot also. He also did Chuck the Condor and a bunch of other mascots.
That's insane. I had no clue that the Fanatic was the first one.
I had no idea.
Yep.
I'm trying to
and he
find
was
out.
Jim Henson.
Yeah, that's insane. Fuck Bryce Harper, but I love Jim Henson.
Yeah.
I love Jim Henson. I love Bryce Harper too, to be honest.
Do you? Is it his hair?
No, I just feel like he's like the Darth Vader of baseball.
Yeah,
you know?
he is.
Like he's just so he like never smiles. He doesn't seem like he's having a good time. He just wallops home runs. He once punched Papelbon in the face, like in the dugout. His own teammate was so cool.
He's not a good person. I mean, like he's not.
I've actually heard that he's a big dork, you know? He's never had alcohol. He's only had sex with one woman in his life. He's Mormon. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's another reason I hate him.
I was going to say, those are the reasons to not like him. Like, what a freaking dork.
What a fucking loser. What's your number 1, Pepper?
I mean,
the city of Philadelphia, by the way, just like throwing batteries at Santa Claus and shit.
it's so fucking dope.
They are aggressive, those people.
That's the only redeeming quality they got.
All right, my number 1 is it's kind of just a rip off of the fucking Philly Fanatic, but it's the Braves' new mascot blooper.
Oh, I know Blooper. Yeah, I know all that.
Yeah.
He got booed by the fans, like when they revealed him, because he's like this weird Caucasian flesh color.
Yeah.
And he also just like looks really weird. And so the day that he was announced, everyone just started booing the shit out of him. Luckily, in the last few years, people have came around because he started doing funny gags.
Yeah, he's been great like the past couple years. Do you know who's inside that suit? Because I have no idea.
I don't know that guy.
I tried to Google it real quick. I couldn't find it.
Did you think you were about to spring a new mascot on Jeff Dye?
No. Are you talking about? Hold on. Are you talking about the curator of the fucking Mascot Hall of Fame,
The
Jeff Dye?
fucking mascot
No,
king?
I'm not sneaking anything by this guy.
I'll tell you, man. I didn't think Blooper was gonna last long. I thought he would be gone so soon because the fans are fucking brutal in Atlanta about it.
I remember, and people don't understand that. People are like, oh yeah, they're Atlanta. But do you remember the 2012 game with the infield fly rule? Whenever they had to postpone the game for 30 minutes because fans were throwing beer cans on the field.
Wasn't that Chipper Jones's like last game too?
Yeah, I cried.
Yeah, it was like a big deal, and that's how he had to go out. That was just bullshit.
Yeah, I have a story that I've told a couple times on the podcast. It was Chipper Jones last season, and I was moving down here from Georgia, and all my friends were like, "Dude, please!" Like, I never used to smoke weed with my friends, and they're like, "Can you please smoke weed with us?" I was like, "Yes, let's go." So I got this giant fucking 4-foot bong. My friend's a drug dealer. Went over to his house, smoked a shit ton of weed. We were watching one of the last Braves games that Chipper Jones ever played, and he hit a walk-off home run. And I just started sobbing, and I couldn't move. I was too fucking stoned to do anything. So I'm just sitting there. I was like, I can't believe I'm never gonna watch him play baseball anymore, dude. And I lost.
Is that a Burt Kreischer
So,
impression?
Yeah.
Like this question is so or not question, but that you talking about that was just so American.
Yeah.
You grind at a walk-off home run while you're stoned with your buddies who begged you to smoke weed at a drug. Was that at a drug dealer's house? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Yeah, we smoked like Alaskan Thunderfuck or Northern Lights or some shit. It was like really good shit. And they're like, yeah, we get it. We get why you don't smoke weed. I was like, yeah, because Chipper Jones is the greatest baseball player of all time.
That's like when Undertaker did his last match. I had like a big party at my house for WrestleMania Day.
Which one?
Whatever it was. And then the dude's had like 20 matches since then. It's like this fucking fake retirement bullshit. Like you manipulated all of us. We all cheers to the TV like it's Undertaker's last match. And that fucker just like, he'll go perform for some Saudi princes every 2 months, and he fucking does some weird bullshit with AJ Styles, like a movie fight. It's just so. I hate when they try to trick us like that. But Chipper really retired.
He did.
Yeah, Chipper Jones is the not the Undertaker of the MLB.
No.
Are you watching that documentary, that series, The Last Ride?
No, I haven't, because I'm still pretty pissed off about the way that they've handled Undertaker.
Yeah, well, it'll piss you off more because it's basically it's just a lot of that, but on camera. It's a lot of like, this is the last time I'll ever do it. And then it's like 2 weeks later and he's like, I got one more in me. And then it's like 6 months later and he's like, I watched it back and I think I can go again.
No.
Well, I heard him on he was on Ariel Helwani's show and he was talking about it and he was like, yeah, you know, I keep saying it's my last time, but my wife will be like, you know, you'll fucking answer the phone in 6 months whenever they call you.
Yeah, well, most of that documentary is Michelle McCool, his wife, who used to be a wrestler, by the way. And she's just like, all right, man, you've got to come home to your family. You got to stop doing this. And he's like, yes, absolutely. God, I love being on this land. I love spending. I'm going to all these school events. This is great. Then the phone rings, and then he's like, listen, baby. Vince just called, and then it's just her rolling her eyes. Like 45 minutes of the documentary, every episode is her just being like, let's fucking go.
Yeah, but you know what he should say is like, you like our house, honey?
Yeah.
You like the giant house
Exactly.
and all the cars and shit, and all the Harleys I bought your untalented ass?
Who's oh god damn it, I can't fucking think of his name. I'll do it.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. He's the Michael Caine of wrestling.
Yeah, he'll just do anything.
Well, you know who do you know what Chipper Jones's dog's name is?
Mark
Yeah.
Calloway.
It's like City Field or whatever.
Yeah, it's Shay. He named it Shay.
Stadium. Yeah.
He just makes Shay his daddy, and so he's like, I'm gonna
Every
name my-
every time it's Chipper Jones' birthday, I post a picture of him, and I was like, "Happy birthday to the longtime owner of the New York Mets."
Oh, that's great. I love that.
They
All right,
used
who's
to-
number one, Bub?
My number one is, and this is more of a local reference. His name is Hook, and he is the mascot formerly of the Biloxi, the Seawolves, and then the Mississippi Surge. This is hockey. He's a wolf. The team was Mississippi Surge.
My number 4 wasn't.
This is your number one out of all the mascots.
This is why. it might be nostalgia. It's very possible. But I went to, I mean, it's Mississippi. We don't have a lot of fucking hockey, but I went to a lot of hockey games as a kid and these Seawolves games. And this dude was the most entertaining thing I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. I'm talking, he's a wolf. All right. That's a dog. Backflips. I'm pretty sure he ate pizza somehow through his costume. That was incredible. I don't know where he's going, but I got his fucking measuring cup of vodka.
This is your number one. Unreal.
Look, man, I feel real shitty about it now. So,
well, this is an interesting thing that you guys' podcast should maybe address, and maybe you have in the past. I don't know, but like, it's like when someone says, "Who do you think's gonna win these cards at UFC or WWE or like with this match?" You're like, "Do you want to know who I think is gonna win or who I want to win?" Because Roman Reigns is gonna win, but I want Braun Strowman to. You know what I'm saying? So. It's kind of the same thing. This is your Rushmore. He's your number one. You're not saying who the 4 best are. They're saying who your 4 favorite are, right?
Correct. And honestly, I could be doing my favorite and you could be doing your best and it's still okay.
Yeah, that's true. Just curious.
It's kind of up to your own discretion.
That was real shitty, though. I did not expect that out of you. Generally, I'm the one that gets shit on for, like, bad picks.
That is true.
But this is next fucking level, dude.
And that was a number 1. He put it over all the other ones.
For a Mississippi fucking, like, basically rec league hockey team.
To be fair, the Philly Fanatic was my number 1. I swapped it whenever we had
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Sure. All right,
here's my number 1. And it was so easy. I started with him. I was like, yeah, that's the number 1. That's the Michael Jordan of mascots. That's the best. He's no contest, not even close. I mean, even over the Philly Fanatic, who I revere as one of the top honors of mascots. He is Ted Giannoulis, that little Greek man from I think he's from Indiana. I don't know, maybe Ithaca, New York. I'm not sure. It's some I word. Listen, the San Diego Chicken. He is so legendary. In fact, he was the first mascot, but he never had a sports affiliation. So he wasn't for the Padres. He would go to every baseball stadium. He didn't give a shit. If you hired him and gave him $10,000, he'd go dance around and do a bunch of gimmicks in Turner Field. Ted Turner tried to buy him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ted Turner was going to trade a relief pitcher and a big heap of money just for the San Diego Padres mascot. And the Padres are like, oh, we don't own that guy. He works at a radio station. He comes in and we pay him. So Ted Turner flew him out to the Braves place and said, hey, well, I'll give you this much money. You tell me what number to write on this check, and you're ours. And he turned it down.
Same thing he did with Bret Hart.
That's true.
Oh, it's exactly what he did. Yeah.
I mean, Ted Turner's a smart motherfucker.
Yeah. It took me a second to get that reference, and I was like, yeah, you're a fucking absolutely right. You did do that to all the wrestlers. But yeah, so the San Diego Chicken is so funny. And if you ever have an extra 10 minutes that you're like, what should I watch? Just go San Diego Chicken, maybe put in like San Diego Chicken Funny or something like that on YouTube. And he is, for all intents and purposes, like if there is a genius in the mascot world, that's that guy. He's so funny.
I need to check him out. I mean, I'm like vaguely aware of him. Like I know that I knew the Ted Turner story, but I need to do some goddamn research.
He does like really great gags that like if I showed you the gag and then put you in a costume and said go do this, you wouldn't be able to. I mean, it's really like Charlie Chaplin-esque, like physical comedy. It's very, very funny.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait,
Rest in peace, Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, yeah. I was like, wait, Ted Turner's still alive. Ted Giannoulis is still alive. I don't know. Mascots don't die. And I was like, oh, all right, yeah, Charlie Chaplin. It's been a while.
Yeah, that's one thing that I realized. Like,
feels like yesterday.
Going through this whole thing. I was like, being a mascot, like it really is like its own art form because it's like modern day mime basically.
Yeah, it's vaudevillian really shit. Like
yeah,
it's super hard to do.
Yeah, and I mean, I like the athletic shit. Like you're talking about Benny the Bull, the shit that he does in a fucking very cumbersome and hot fucking suit. I wouldn't be able to do fucking naked. Like
not to mention like. I'm not the best dancer, even if I'm trying to be funny. And if you just watch him from like a dancing perspective, you're like, holy shit, like he's dancing really good. Yeah. Like even that would be hard.
It seems like it's probably like D1 athletes that must have got injured or something. Like I don't even know where they fucking get these guys.
Well, a lot of the mascots are like, I don't know what they would be classified as, but like the Seattle Supersonics mascot, which was a Bigfoot, which was so great. His name was Squatch.
Yeah.
He, I never knew who was inside. I still don't know the name or anything, but I guess he was like a little Asian guy who could like do a standing backflip. He could ride a unicycle. He could juggle. And so he just literally walked in there and was like, yeah, I can do anything you want. And they're like, all right, dance. He's like, I'm like, all right, can you do a flip? He's like, like it was really like in 15 minutes, they're like, that's the fucking guy. And they just put him in the costume.
Hell yeah, dude.
That's fantastic.
That's something that I'll never do.
Rest in
But
peace, Supersonics.
I'm glad somebody's out there doing that shit.
That's a real rest in peace.
Just shake our heads and just.
So sad.
That is very sad. They're coming back. I have
They
word.
will.
They told me. They let me know.
Eventually, we will have the Sonics back, and it'll be this boring story that our kids don't give a shit about. We'll be like, there was a time when there was no Seattle Supersonics, and they'll be like, we don't care at all.
Yeah.
This is not interesting, Dad.
Break out all your Sean Kemp jerseys.
Yeah. They weren't there, and now they're back. And everyone's like, okay, well, we weren't alive, and we didn't give a shit when they weren't. We didn't know them then.
All right, dude. We appreciate it.
That's the fucking
This is
episode.
fucking fantastic.
Thanks for having me on.
Are we
we,
friends now?
Are we friends?
Hell yeah, man. I'll have you guys on my friendship podcast. That's living proof. This is going to go up there. Also, wait, what area are you guys in right now?
Biloxi, Mississippi. So we're like hour and a half away from New Orleans, near all the casinos and shit. We're in Pascagoula, but we're right by Biloxi, Mississippi.
Nice. What's the major comedy club that's like close to there?
We don't have one.
No, nothing close?
No, only thing we have close really is theaters, like in Mobile, Alabama, which is 30 minutes away, and then New Orleans, we have like the Civic Theater and Sanger Theater, but no clubs.
We can book you at the world famous Celtic Irish pub.
Well, when I get famous enough and I start doing theaters and shit, we'll have some vodka in a measuring glass in the green room.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck
Dude.
yeah, man! Looking forward to it.
You guys are the best.
We're gonna stop recording, then you're gonna tell us about that thing you said you would tell us when we stop
Oh,
recording.
yeah, I got you.
How about that episode? That was a good ass episode. Hey, thank you guys. If you're a Patreon subscriber, I love you guys. Took last week off from posting an episode because it was Memorial Day weekend, and so throwing this one up here. Once things get out of quarantine here in California, I'm gonna be knocking these out a lot more content. I have a huge announcement coming up, which you guys are gonna be very excited about, and you will get the announcement first if you're on Patreon. To subscribe to Patreon, go to patreon.com/Jeff Dye. That gets you free comedy club tickets to all of my live appearances. And you get to watch the podcast first on here every week instead of just listening to it. If you are just listening to it for free, no big deal. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here for me. Thank you for wanting to hear me talk. Thank you for wanting to meet my friends. All those things mean a lot to me, and I love you guys to death. See you next week on episode 112.
Friendship